Hello, Bike With Me 17, a visit to Cootharinga, or the big rock Castle Hill. Castle Hill is this big lump in the middle of the town, and from an aerial view you can see it's a very lumpy place with a sort of a winding road, and going up are those signs. That's a reminder about halfway up of the cemetery. Now, I got quite exhausted because it's a very steep incline, so I started recording this sort of nearing the top, and then I've recorded all the way down because it's a lot faster down. The road is 2.6 kilometres long. There are other tracks up, but they are for very fit people. For example, there's one called the Goat Track, and it has 758 individual steps. Now you can see council works going on here. They're going to build a coffee shop and another viewing platform. They had one of those loudspeakers booming out popular music, and I was rather pleased to get away from it. You can notice it's a very narrow road. There's no line down the middle, and pedestrians and bike riders have to stay to the right of it. And cars are slowed right down to 20 kilometres per hour in some places, and down near the bottom it goes to 40. And it's quite surprising on the way back. I had to be very careful not to end up racing too much, because you can just on the bike. Now just before this there was the little sign that says it's a reserve, so you can't actually just take a bike down into any of these areas. Alright, well, we're coming around to the actual top of it, and you can see that car with the incline, and I'm walking, that's why this is a little bit shaky. And one of the first things you're going to see is a memorial, and I'm going to pay as much attention as the person who it's a memorial for, and that's Robert Towns, which Townsville was named after. It was actually packed away in a box for about 40 years. That's how much people cared about it, because he never actually visited the place. So this is new, this little low wall along here. And I've taken some still shots because it's easier to see, and because it's got a couple of peaks, you've got different views, and there's Maggie Island in the background, and that's different scenes. Now I'm going up to the top of that little peak there, and I'm resting the bike with the camera on it, so you'll see me heading out eventually, and I have to walk up. There I go. Yes, no, the old man. And I have to walk up all those stairs. Certainly couldn't ride. And these are the view from the top. Now I live right in the middle of that, and that's out to the ocean, Maggie Island on that side. Going to Mount Stewart, you can see the antennae, and it's a sizable city, but it's not, a huge sort of place, and it's very dry at the moment, and it's just shopping centres in those big areas. And I've got one here, I think you can along there, you can see the stadium in the background there it is, the stadium. And that is the World War II part. They built a radar station here in 1942, and it was a lookout. And you could be shot during World War II if you came up here. So it's all a part of our history, and it's also part of Aboriginal history. It's called Cootharinga by the local people. Okay, so I'm careering down. I've got disc brakes, so I can control my speed pretty well. And this is the whole trip back, and believe you me, it's a lot faster. That car for some reason just had to bug me. Yeah, just slowly went along. Some people are so anxious they're going to hit you that they end up causing more problems. But anyway, so as you can see, the incline is steep, and you're all supposed to keep to this very narrow spot here. And there's some speed bumps which just add more delight to it. And you can imagine this is not what you're supposed to be doing. Walking down the middle of the road. Thank you, old man. Very nice. Not many people. I wonder why. You know, tourism has just sort of been killed, and it's just hopeless. And by the way, Castle Hill, it comes from Victorian settlers who back in 1864 thought it looked similar to something they saw on the Isle of Man. And the place nearly starved in those early days, and the town was actually called Castle Hill, and the first newspaper was called the Castle Town Times, and it wasn't until Robert Towns, he was a captain, renamed it after himself, of course, for whatever reasons. Now, about getting down to the about 3/4 of the way down, you can see 20 kilometres per hour there, and easy to go, faster. There's one interesting part. There used to be a restaurant, and the site was cleared many years ago, and it is the only part that you can build on because it is a reserve, and it was put on the Queensland Heritage back in 1993. And I think I've told you before in earlier videos, building on our hills is a bit dangerous. It's this granite. But here's the site. Now, this, you can imagine, it's going to cost someone millions. Around here on the lower foothills are some of the most expensive real estate, not just in Queensland or Australia, but the world. You know, you can buy $10 million houses here for God knows what reason, but anyway, and that's the road you've got to come up. So there's a lot of discussion about what's going on, and I'm not sure who owns it, whether it's a private or it's owned by the council. So here we are, we're sort of getting close to the end of it, and you can see the first peak, and we come down. It's it all looks like one thing from a distance, but when you're up in it, it's a mixture of stuff. Okay, we're coming down fast to the end of it, and you can see the houses of North Ward, the suburb is called, and then the Bougainvillea and the Pointianas, and all these houses here, they cost a lot of money. It's just an amazing amount. So that was fun, and I picked a very cloudy day to do it, even though it is 32 degrees centigrade, and I still would manage to get sunburnt, so, you know. And here's a couple of people, good looking man. You know, we're missing our tourists. Alright, well the next one, Bike With Me 18, I think I'll do something that I'm rather fond of, is finding some public art. Okay, thank you, leave a comment, subscribe and like.